What's happening with it, y'all? Before we get into this next video with this breaking news, make sure that y'all hit my like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber to the channel. Because if you don't, you're missing out, and the like button is free. Now, it looks like we finally got action, y'all. Now, we all know that we didn't get the mega fight that the boxing world wanted to see with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. The truth. We all know what happened. Bud backed out of the fight because he went to go fight a Rudy Poo the Bomb. However you feel about it, that's just how it happened. That's just what took place. He got paid for doing it. But anyway, I continue to tell people that Errol Spence, he needs to go ahead and move along or give Terrence Crawford 2 or 3 weeks at max to sign the contract. And if he don't get this contract signed by then, move along. Go up to 154 because the man is not going to fight you. Now, we also know that the boxing world wanted to see Keith Thurman and Errol Spence before Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. That was the Terrence Crawford-Errol Spence fight. If you go back 5 years ago to 2017, 2018, that was the fight that everybody wanted to see. Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. If you ask a lot of people, they'll tell you that Keith Thurman ducked Errol Spence. Keith Thurman did everything that he could not to fight Errol Spence. If you ask me, I got a different take, because if you look at the timeline, Keith Thurman was fighting for championship. He was fighting Sean Porter, he was fighting Danny Garcia, he was unifying, he was doing all of that. And then he was out injured for a long time. Then when he came back from being injured, he had a tune-up, and then he got a big mega fight with Manny Pacquiao, and he was injured again. So I never looked at the situation that he was ducking Errol Spence. I just thought that those injuries held him out, and it kept us from getting the fight that we wanted. Errol Spence felt like Keith Thurman was ducking him. But, everybody got their different opinions. Now, we finally gonna get it, y'all. April. It looks like in April, we're about to get Keith Thurman and Errol Spence, but the fight is gonna be at 154 pounds. It's gonna be at super welterweight, y'all. This is the news that really surprised me. So it's being reported, once again, that Errol Spence and Keith Thurman, they finally gonna fight after all of these years, but the fight is gonna take place at 154. So this means that Errol Spence, he looks like he's gonna be able to keep his WBC strap at 147 pounds unless he decides to vacate the strap. I don't know what they gonna do with the IBF, because he has Jerron Boots Ennis is now the mandatory to his IBF championship, but Boots Ennis, he just fought. So it looks like that, I don't know if Errol Spence is gonna keep the belt. You know what I'm saying? If he's gonna vacate the belt, if he's gonna keep it and try to fight Terrence Bud Crawford after he faces Keith Thurman, I don't know. But this is gonna be a hell of a fight. A lot of people count Keith Thurman out and act like that he's a bum. Keith Thurman ain't no bum. You know what I'm saying? Keith Thurman can fight his ass off. If Keith Thurman come in there in shape, ready, and been in the gym training, Keith Thurman is gonna be a tough task. Now, looking at the fight, I've never thought that Keith Thurman could ever beat Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? When Keith Thurman was in his prime, I still said that Errol Spence would beat him. I think that Errol Spence goes in a tough fight with Keith Thurman, and I think that Errol Spence eventually stops Keith Thurman later on in the fight, in the later rounds. To the body, probably. He probably gonna hurt him to the body and finish him off to the head. But this is a fight that's gonna do big numbers. They probably gonna have it in Dallas. They haven't announced where they gonna have the fight yet. But if you ask me, I think the fight is gonna take place in Dallas, because that's probably where it's gonna do its biggest numbers, in Dallas. You got Errol Spence is from Dallas. You got Keith Thurman, he from Florida. So Florida and Dallas, they not too far apart from each other. They both in the South. And let's get it on. Let's get it popping. I like this fight. I've been wanting to see this fight for a long time. You know what I'm talking about? If we can't get Terrence Crawford, to do the right thing and agree to the fight, which he didn't last time, don't waste your time on that man. and you can still bend the corner and see if Terrence Crawford fights you. I don't care if we get Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence at 154. Hey, it might be a better fight at 154 pounds because Errol Spence don't have to drain himself. Terrence Crawford, own nephew, told me that Terrence Crawford is getting harder and harder for him to make 147 pounds. So, hey, if they gonna get it on, I don't care what weight is at. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, now we need to talk about Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. This is the biggest fight to me. If you ask me, right now, as of 2023, this gonna be the biggest fight. Unless they make Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford later on down the line. Oh yeah, Keith Thurman and Errol Spence is gonna do big numbers. It's gonna be huge. You know what I'm talking about? And I can't wait. I'm looking forward to going to this fight. Like I said, this is a fight for real, true boxing fans that remember how big this fight was, like I said, 5 years ago. This was the fight that everybody want to see. And once they officially announced this fight, they've announced that it's going to take place in April at 154. But once everybody see this and then they see the official announcement, everybody going to jump right back on the bandwagon. Boxing fans, they'll try to pretend like they don't want to see Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. But once the build up to this fight start taking place, everybody going to have amnesia and they going to want to see the fight again. You better believe it. And stop, acting like Keith Thurman ain't like that. Keith Thurman has only lost one fight, and that was to Manny Pacquiao. You dig what I'm saying? It was to Manny Pacquiao, and that's it. And Manny Pacquiao looked damn good in that fight, and it was when Manny Pacquiao, he wasn't in his prime, but he wasn't the same Manny Pacquiao that had a long layoff and that was fighting Yordenis Ugas either. You dig what I'm talking about? This was an active Manny Pacquiao. A Manny Pacquiao that was coming off wins against Lucas Matisse, Adrian Broner, and a Manny Pacquiao that was active. And he was running through everybody at that point in time. So Keith Thurman, he went in there. And the only reason Keith Thurman lost really is because he got dropped in what was the first round. If Keith Thurman hadn't suffered that knockdown, he actually would have won that fight. The fight was very, very close. I think Manny Pacquiao won on the scorecards by like 1 round. One judge had it for Keith Thurman. The other 2 had it for Manny Pacquiao 1 round. You know what I'm saying? It was a split decision win for Manny Pacquiao. I was live at that fight, right there ringside, and I felt that Manny Pacquiao won the fight. Even though I thought that Keith Thurman was going to win the fight if you had asked me before that. But I felt that Manny Pacquiao won the fight. But that's the only fighter to ever beat Keith Thurman. Yeah, we've seen Keith Thurman hurt against fighters, but he always recovered. Now, let's see if Errol Spence can go in there against Keith Thurman and be the first one to stop Keith Thurman. I got Spence stopping him. Let's see what happens. Like I said, this is a hell of a fight. A great fight for the fans, and I'm looking forward to being at the fight if I can go to the fight. Other than that, y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. Keith Thurman and Errol the True Spence, that with the shag, 154 pounds in April. Hit my like button, comment, let me know how y'all feel about this, and y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again, and I'm gone.